In a small town of Mitiana, there lived two close friends, Sarah and Maggie. They had grown up together, shared secrets, cried over heartbreaks, and even sold chapati side by side after school. Everyone called them the twins who weren't born by the same mother. When Sarah got a job at a local hardware store, she immediately told Maggie, "Just give me 2 months and I will help you get into it." True to her word, Sarah convinced her boss to hire Maggie. Life began to look up. They saved together, loved together, and even dreamed of opening their own shop one day. But then came Andrew, a tall, soft-spoken supplier who often visited the shop. He noticed Sarah first, always joking and helping her lift boxes. They started talking after work, and slowly feelings grew between them. Maggie teased her, saying, "Hey, you are falling in love. Oh, do not forget me when you start driving." But something in Maggie's tone changed. She began dressing up more, staying late at work, and laughing a little too much whenever Andrew was around. Sarah noticed but brushed it off. "She is my sister," she thought full. Until one rainy evening, Sarah fell sick and stayed home. The next morning, she decided to surprise her sister at work. When she reached the store, she saw Andrew's car parked outside and Maggie sitting inside, her head on his shoulder. Her heart broke in silence. Days later, the truth spilled out. Maggie and Andrew had been secretly seeing each other for weeks. When confronted, Maggie just said, "You think you are better than everyone. He chose me, don't you?" Sarah left the job. She could not bear to see either of them again. Months later, the store owner called her back. He had fired Maggie after catching her stealing from the cash box. The same Maggie she had once trusted with her dreams. Sarah went back, strong and quieter. The pain turned into wisdom. She learned that not everyone who stands beside you wants to see you rise. And when people asked her why she worked alone now, she did simply say, "I learned the hard way. Betrayal does not come from enemies. It comes from those who we call family." Maggie had always loved Sarah, but deep down, she always envied her. Sarah had a light, and that drew people in. She spoke kindly, smiled easily, and everyone listened when she talked. Maggie, on the other hand, always felt like the other one. When people complimented them, they said Sarah and her friend Maggie, never Maggie and Sarah. When Sarah got the job first, Maggie had been genuinely happy. But there was a quiet sting inside her heart. Why her? She sometimes wondered. Still, she pushed it aside because Sarah had helped her too. Then came Andrew. At first, Maggie did not notice him much. But the way he looked at Sarah, the laughter they shared, the small gifts he bought her, it all stirred something ugly inside Maggie. One day as they chatted, Andrew mentioned how hardworking Sarah was. Maggie smiled, but her chest burned. That night she told herself, "If she can get everything, what will be left for me?" When Sarah fell sick, Maggie and Andrew were left alone to close the shop. They talked about life, about dreams, about how lonely Maggie sometimes felt. One conversation led to another, and before she could stop herself, she had crossed the line. Each time she saw Sarah's face afterward, guilt stabbed her, but pride silenced it. She will be fine, she told herself. She has everything anyway. But betrayal never hides for long. When Sarah found out, Maggie's world cracked. She tried to explain, but Sarah's eyes, full of tears and disbelief, made her words meaningless. In the weeks that followed, Andrew began to change. He grew distant, suspicious, even rude. Then one day he stopped coming altogether. Left alone, Maggie turned bitter. She tried to focus on work, but her heart wasn't there anymore. In desperation, she started taking small amounts of money from the till. "I will return it," she promised herself, but never did. When she was caught, the shame crushed her. People whispered, pointed, laughed. "That's Sarah's friend, the one who betrayed her." And as she packed her things in silence, she realized something she had never forgotten. Betrayal does not only hurt the one who deceived, it destroys you too. Slowly, from the inside and out. Years later, Sarah opened her own small hardware shop. She did not hire anyone for a long time, but sometimes when a young girl asked for advice, she smiled softly and said, Guard your heart, my dear. Kindness is beautiful, but not everyone who eats with you wishes you well. As for Maggie, she moved on to another town trying to start afresh. But every time she saw two girls laughing together in friendship, she looked away quickly, a heavy sadness in her heart. She had learned the price of envy and she was lonely. Would you let me?